Can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome back into the Skraby Show, April 3rd, 2024. Thank you to everybody for joining me. I have a lot to talk about tonight. I have a big old announcement here in about 20 minutes. So I'm going to try not to talk so much that I blow past the announcement time. But I think people are going to be very excited about it, and I've been working on it. So we will get to that in just a little bit. But it's been a while, I guess, since I've talked to all of you, and I missed all of you. I missed all the Scravinators out there. And I appreciate whoever originally came up with the name Scravinator, because I didn't think about it that way. But when the show first started, everybody was searching for what should we call ourselves if we listened to your show. And I said, I don't know, but Scravinator stuck, and I appreciate it. And everybody is, loving being a Scravinator. So you could join me on YouTube if you would like. You can watch the show. Just go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan. We're also on Facebook. We're also on Twitch, 97.3 The Fan, and X, 97.3 The Fan SD. Diane is here. Brian is here. Welsh Fryer is here at 2 a.m. Katrina's here, and McKee is here. Jacob's here. Castro's here, and Brandon is here. So thanks to everybody for being here. We have a good old Padres win to talk about today. I was kind of dreading when I was driving down here. I was kind of dreading whether or not I was going to be talking about a loss, because it certainly seemed there at some points that it was heading towards that direction. And Diane says it right. Good evening for a Padres afternoon win. Yay! That was really bad. I'm sorry. I didn't do your yay well enough, Diane. But I get your sentiment, because that's how we felt here in the studios. I know all the Padres fans heading home felt that way. I know that Tony felt that way. Chris felt that way. I don't ever remember a time, actually, where Tony and Chris have agreed with me that there was some must-win factor to a game today. And they both did say that there was a must-win factor for the game today. And Welsh Fryer says it on the chat. It was another one of those, last year we would have lost that game. And I've been trying not to go in that direction. And I'm not going in that direction just yet. It's still, as we talked about yesterday on the show in the Big Five, how long do I need to wait before I get worried? And they said 70 games, possibly even more. And I personally understand why they say that, why they say 70 games is what we need to wait before we can judge this team, because it's a long season. And we said it so many times last year that things even out. But last year, we kept waiting for it to even out and waiting for it to even out, and it just never did. So I am happy to see that the Padres are at least fighting back and not just not that packing it in is even a thing this early in the season, but at least there is some fight. You know, there are moments where I feel like, here we go again. Last night in the bottom of the 8th inning, when I think it was 7 pitches, Andrew Kittredge was the pitcher, 7 pitches while they were down after Yu Darvish had a great start. I thought, man, this is what is going on now. Now we're swinging at everything first pitch. We're swinging at bad pitches. But today, they came right out. They loaded the bases. Again, they're going to have to improve on hitting with the bases loaded. And today, hitting with runners in scoring position, because they were 0 for 11 today. So it's something that we have to keep in the back of our mind, but also at the same time realize it's another year. And I'll tell you why it's another year. There are a lot more players on this team that I think, a lot more role players. We talked about this in the offseason. Like, we felt the Padres were a little too top heavy last year with superstars, and it wasn't really balanced out as much with the players that the role players, the guys that are off the bench, the guys that are, not making hundreds of millions of dollars over 10 years. They just didn't have guys that were good enough in that position. They had some guys that were a little young, but this year I feel like their role players are a little bit better. I know that we're still counting on guys like Graham Pauley, Tyler Wade, but they've held their own so far. I mean, through the first 9 games, and 7 games since, or I guess home opener would be tomorrow. So they're holding their own right now. And I know for a fact I'm going to be living each and every pitch, or each and every pitch, but each and every game this year, because they all matter. I was thinking about it on the drive home or drive down here. Like, if they were to win 3 more games last year, 2 more games last year, I think 3 to be safe. If they were to win 3 more games last year, they're in the playoffs. And I don't believe the Diamondbacks are in the playoffs, which then they don't go to the World Series. So games now, I understand why people say it's a long season, but games now are very important because we will look back on this in September. Remember when the Padres dropped 2 of 3 from the Cardinals? If that's what we're talking about then, because I believe they're going to be winning, so we won't be talking about it. But I will never forget last year when the Padres had a poor showing against the Royals. And we're like, it's got to get better, right? Well, I already feel better about this team. I do. There's many more additions, and things are actually working out for the Padres. And a little bit later, I'm going to talk about why things are actually coming around for the Padres that didn't happen last year. Like 1-run game wins. Try saying that 5 times fast. 1-run game wins. It's not easy. But I do, back to the main crux of the conversation, I do believe you need to give a team time during a baseball season. I'm just telling you, it's hard to watch. And Jackson Merrill, this is why I feel like this team is different. Because Jackson Merrill, I do love what Jackson Merrill has done. And I know there is a long, long, long season ahead, but I've heard a bunch of experts, I've heard a bunch of experts describe him as one thing, and it makes sense to me. But the sentence that they say is he looks the part. And I think he does. You don't need to be a major league scout to know when someone fits. And to me, and I think to others, Jackson Merrill fits in the show. And he is showing us, no pun intended or whatever it is, he's showing us that he can hang at this level. And even if he's not going to produce Juan Soto numbers this year, I just see a really, really high ceiling for him. And I don't want to overhype it, but how can I not? Guy's living the dream, and he's doing really well at it. And if you go to his Baseball Savant page, which is like StatCast page, and you're looking at all of his different percentiles throughout baseball, he, for a rookie, is holding his own at the plate more than you would think. His chase percent is only 7, or he's the 7th percentile, meaning he doesn't chase that often. His when he hits the ball, his hard hit percent is he's a 62. Let me start that over. Hard hit percent, he's the 62nd percentile, so that's pretty good over the the midpoint of 50. Barrel percentage, he's at 83rd percentile, which is really good, meaning that he's hitting balls hard. Average exit velocity, he's got 92 miles an hour. And this was all coming into this morning, but I don't think these numbers are going to change too much. The average exit velocity is 65th percentile. So I think that he's doing great things. And defensively, I mean, in center field, guy hasn't played center field as a professional baseball player until this spring training, as far as I know. And he's playing center field at a high level in the major leagues. I went and looked at the defensive stats coming into today, this morning, before games started. He had the most total chances as a center fielder in baseball. And he had also the most putouts as a center fielder in baseball. So what he's doing is making it look easy, and it's not easy. But this goes back to why I think this team is a lot different than last year, because you have guys like that with the huge upside. Even if he goes through the season and he's a 250 hitter, don't even want to put numbers out there, to be honest. I'm going to knock on wood. But even if he's just an average player, he's going to give you those moments where you realize why he was talked about so much. You realize why he was rated so highly by a lot of the different prospect rankers out there. So you're seeing why all of this is making sense for the Padres to hang on to him, number one, when they were trading a bunch of guys away, and number two, get a guy that's willing to play center field when they're actually a shortstop. I think that's hard. I think that's a difficult thing to do. And it's a selfless thing to do for sure. I can't imagine being like, oh, this is my only here. I'll put it like this. If I had to do like, I'm not a fisherman, and I know there's fishing radio shows, but if they're like, Skraby, I know that you have done sports your entire radio career, but hey, we want you to move to fishing. We need you to do fishing shows. And I would be like, I can't do fishing shows because I don't know enough about fishing. But Jackson Merrill said, yeah, let me go play center field. Let me go do that in the major leagues. It's insane. It's insane, I tell you. All right. I'm Matt Skraby. This is the Skraby Show. Happy to be back. I'm going to get through some of your chats here in the next segment. Also, it is time when we get back for the big announcement. I hope everybody is ready. That'll be about 7 minutes from now or so, but we'll talk more Padres baseball, and we'll get this big announcement when we get back on 97.3 The Fan.
No
Back here in the Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan, Matt Skraby, The Skraby Show. Back with you tonight, tomorrow, and then Friday, I believe. Yes, Friday, because it's a 1:35 game in San Francisco, so there will be a Skraby Show on Friday. You are stuck with me from 6 to 7 p.m. the rest of the week, but I think you're going to like me in just a second, I promise. We're going to go through some of your chats. We're going to do this big surprise. I think I'm building this up too much, but I'm very excited about it. So I've been working on this for like a month. I hope people are excited or will be excited about it. Actually, I know they will be excited about it. Baseball season is finally here. You already know we're the official home of the Padres, so be sure to catch us all season long, wherever the season takes you with the Odyssey app. Listen to us react to the biggest moments from throughout the season. Plus, be sure to listen to live local play-by-play for every Padres game. Download the Odyssey app today and search 97.3 The Fan to get started. Local blackouts apply. Padres do win today over the Cardinals, 3-2. They win a one-run game, even though they didn't have a hit with runners in scoring position. They hit 4 batters, somehow made it work. And so, big, huge, must-win game. All right, let's get into this. I got to make sure I go over to my Twitter page real quick. Oh my gosh, I hate it when my computer gives me the news section that I don't want and I can't get it to go down. There it is. Okay, I'm going to tweet this out right now. If you would like to read the post, you're going to need to go there, but you just go to @MattSkraby, MattSkrab, as in boy, Y. But I am really excited to announce that next week we are going to have a Scravinator night in the Odyssey suite. I'm telling you, the 97.3 The Fan suite is going to invite Scravinators happening a week from today, Wednesday, April 10th. I convinced the bosses to let me give away some tickets to you so we can share the wealth and we can give you a nice experience in the suite. Now, there's a couple notes first. So this is just entry into the stadium and the suite. Food and drinks are going to be on you. Abraham is chatting. Can I say a profanity on your show? Absolutely not. Again, a couple of notes. Food and drinks are going to be on you, and you will get access to this suite, which has, obviously seats to watch. It's right on the third base line, kind of near home plate. So it's a really good location. And the Odyssey suite is something that I have only accessed a few times, and let me tell you, it's awesome. So you can buy your own food and drinks and bring them in there, but you're just going to get the ticket and the entry into the suite. Also, I hate sounding like a stickler, but that's who I am, so I'm a stickler. I don't mind if you drink at all, and I don't mind if you drink in the suite. However, as the chaperone of the suite, I cannot be having crazy drunk people in the suite on the first ever Scravinator night. It's just not going to happen. It's just not something I can police. I can't get the first and only Scravinator night because someone, got drunk and ended up falling out of the suite or something like that. So I'm not saying don't drink because I know there are many responsible drinkers out there. And the reason I'm also saying this is I don't drink, but again, I don't mind if you drink. Just keep yourself in control. We're all good. But if you want to have 12 beers, again, this is not the night for you. Also, it's Manny Machado bobblehead night on Wednesday, an added bonus. So this game is at 3:40 p.m. Wednesday, Cubs at the Padres. I just got to say thanks to Adam, Michael, Ricky, Peter Schwartz, all of you, all of them and all of you, because everybody realizes that there are lots of people out there that would want to do this and lots of people out there that listen to the station and listen to the Skraby Show. So appreciate that. Here's how you do it. You need to go to my Twitter and you need to sign up because I am going to be giving away pairs of tickets. I have 10 total tickets. So I have 5 pairs to give away. And right now, 833-288-0973 is your first chance to win a pair of tickets to the Odyssey suite with me and other Scravinators. It's going to be caller number. I'm going to make it difficult. No, I'm just kidding. I hope 12 people call. Caller number 4 is going to be the winner of the first pair of tickets. And again, Wednesday, April 10th. If you cannot come to the game because it's at 3:40 p.m., then I am sorry, but please don't sign up because I want to make sure people can watch the whole game. EC Money says he doesn't have Twitter. Okay, good suggestion, EC Money. Just go to 97.3 The Fan SD, and you can go and there's a contest section on the top of the website. I know I'm giving like really specific instructions right now, but didn't account for the people that don't have Twitter that can't click the link. But if you go to the website, 973thefansd.com, you look at the top, you hover over contests and events, and then you go to contests, and it's going to be there. So you just click on that link, and it's going to be there. I'm going to post this on my Instagram as well so that people are able to have access to it. So that's it. I mean, I have been holding on to this for a very long time, and I'm very excited to get this out there. So appreciate, again, Adam, Michael, Peter, everyone for doing this. All right. I'm looking at the chat to make sure I announced everything. Need to make this a regular thing, says Welsh Fryer. Yes, I'm trying. And McKee, this is amazing. Skraby Fiesta. Sober Scravinator party for our leader Skraby. Okay, I'm telling you, it's not like I want you to be completely sober. I'm not saying that. I want to make that clear. Just don't be a drunk person that ends up falling out of the suite, and we'll be all good because the bosses will never let me do this again. I convinced them. All right, there you go. So if you're on hold right now, if you can hear me, stay right there because I'm going to get the winner in just a second. I didn't account for being so confused about everything while I was doing this, but I think I got everything out there and it's all good. You know what? Someone made a really good point on the chat. I'm going to put up right now. I'm going to put up the in the YouTube. I'm going to put up, I know this is terrible radio right now because I'm doing things live on the air, but I'm going to put up the QR code so that you can see it and you will be able to get to the sign up page from there. So again, if you're on hold, stay right there and I will be right with you. Scravinator night in my folder. Here we go. Putting it up. And we'll get to the chats in just a second. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with me. There we go. Put it up on the YouTube. It's covering my ugly face. So if you go to YouTube, there's a QR code at the bottom, or you go to 97.3 The Fan SD and sign up. So I'm going to be giving away some pairs of tickets, and some of them are going to be raffled off or randomly selected from the people that sign up. Okay, back to sports. Back to the Padres beating the Cardinals in a must-win game. And here are some comments. And the first one, it says, it's Ricky. Merrill can actually put up an at-bat, speed, and solid defense. Well-balanced so far. Agreed. When he goes up to hit, I'm thinking he has a good chance. Like, there's other guys, and especially in previous years, you're like, oh, he's up. Not going to happen. Maybe a former center fielder. I'm not going to say the name. Brandon said, Tatis set a good example of going to play outfield as a shortstop and brought back a platinum glove. Merrill just needs to look at that as why it can be better. That's a good point, Brandon. Didn't think about that. And Fernando Tatis Jr. is a big proponent of Jackson Merrill. He has said very, very nice things about Jackson Merrill all the time, wanted him on the team. So Fernando Tatis Jr. is the perfect guy to emulate if you're going to go from shortstop to the outfield because dude literally played the position for 1 year and won a platinum glove. It's insane. Prophesy, I guess. I understand the concept of sitting Merrill versus lefty hitters, but we got to let him play. Got to let the dog bark. I agree. Actually, they were talking about that on the broadcast or the radio broadcast today when I was driving down to work. They were talking about how Jackson Merrill isn't necessarily going to He's going to sit against every lefty hitter, but right now they're trying to get Jose Azocar some work. They're trying to make sure that he stays fresh and he's able to go out there for defense. And because I can't think of I think I've said this before, I can't think of a more difficult position in sports than being a bench baseball player or a pinch hitter. Like, you have to be locked in on a game so that you can go in on a day in, day out basis and just do your thing. But if you're spot starting, here's, one start here, 6 days later, another start, it's not easy. But they were talking about it on the radio broadcast today. And Tony, as a former player, also Bob Scanlon, a former player, but Tony, as an outfielder, was just saying it's really difficult for people to go out there, play, knowing that they only got one chance in that day, on that day. And if they make a mistake, you get pulled and you're like, I'm never going to ever be put out there again. And I think all of us can kind of relate to that a little bit. But that's why they're sitting Merrill against lefties. At some point, they're going to throw him out there, see what happens. But I'm okay with it not happening right now. And McKee 23, they just can't seem to cobble it together consistently. Glad to see the stolen bases today, though. Yes, it did seem like an emphasis today where they were moving a lot on the base pass, and it was good. It was putting pressure on the Cardinals, and it was working out for them in certain ways. But I want to see more running. I want to see more stolen bases. I want to see more pressure on the pitchers, and that's what we got today. Brandon also says, don't compare Merrill to Soto. Compare him to Grisham. He's an offensive upgrade there without a doubt. I don't think that we can deny that. But Trent Grisham was very good at defense. Jackson Merrill holding his own. Prolific the great. Once Manny and Hassan Kim get cooking, things will get better. I agree with that. Things will get better. Hassan Kim has had a tough start, I got to say. Defensively, he's had a really nice start. He made some plays in the last couple games that were amazing. And I don't know if another player in baseball makes that, but he's struggling at the plate right now. So we'll have to get him going. Wolfpack says, I started something else. Should San Diego make a play for the Chiefs? No, we don't have a stadium. We have to go through that whole thing again. Ken says, I just tuned in. And I don't know if you talked about this, but I love the respect they gave to Jackson Merrill by walking him. And that was interesting. He's played a week in the big leagues, and all of a sudden teams are already walking him. So that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, let's go to break. When we get back, we will have more conversation. We also have, I actually met someone, or not met someone, but I saw into the future about myself, and I will tell you about that. Also, the Braves. They have unleashed a new food item on their stadium, and I can't wait to share that with you. Thanks to everybody who's listening right now. This is the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan. I'll be back here shortly. And if you want to follow us, you can. If you want to watch us, you can. Just search YouTube 97.3 The Fan.
Runners go, the 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike three. Got him to chase the fastball upstairs. Joe Musgrove works out of the jam in the 6th inning with a strikeout of Nolan Arenado. He strands 2.
Joe Musgrove doing things today. After hitting the first batter, he was able to get a double play, and he was able, I think, to retire the next 8 in a row. So he kind of found his stuff today. And I'm happy to see that because the first 2 starts were a little shaky for Joe Musgrove, and I'm glad to see that he's back on track and he is trending in the right direction. Matt Skraby here on the Skraby Show, 97.3 The Fan. If you're still on the phone and you can hear me, I'm sorry. I've been trying to tell everybody that we've already given away the tickets for today. So I will be giving, there's plenty of great questions that came in on the chat during the break that, this is my first time doing a Scravinator night. So this is my first time kind of doing figuring out what I need to, the information that I need to have. And so these are all great questions, but how many winners will there be, Skraby? So there's 8 more winners left, and we are going to be giving those away on the show. Now, if you want to go sign up, I'm also giving away a couple tickets through a random drawing. So you need to go to the link that I put up on my Twitter at Matt Skraby, or you need to go and go to 97.3 The Fan SD, look at contests, and then see the contest page, and you'll find it, and you can sign up there. I'm also going to, I have a feeling, going to be sending that link out a lot, which is fine because it's awesome. It's very awesome. So I'm actually really surprised. I'm always surprised when there's such a good response, and I'm really surprised. So thank you. Everybody's making my day right now. Everybody's making my day. We're going to talk more about the Padres. We're going to hear from Mike Schilt, and we are going to talk about that Braves new food item, which, by the way, the Petco Park food getting better every year. I got to say, it's pretty delicious. I don't know that I can I don't know that I can afford to eat all that food all the time because I did, lose a bunch of weight and I don't want to put it back on, but wow. Anthony says, no need to keep sending it out. You have enough entries already. Are any of the other 97.3 guys going to be there? Chris Bennett Woods. Also, are you going to the roundtable tomorrow? Excuse me. Wow. No, I'm not going to be at the roundtable tomorrow. So you will have Tony, Chris, you will have Ben, you will have Annie and Elston. Are the other 97.3 guys, if they're around and they want to hang out, that's totally fine. They can come hang out too. But it's totally just a Scravinator night. So if you're a fan of the Skraby Show, go sign up. I kind of feel bad that I'm going to have to turn people away, but it is what it is. I got as many tickets as I could have. So again, thank you to Adam, Michael Valenzuela, Ricky, all of you, Peter Schwartz, all of that. Now, before we get back to the Padres, the Phillies, they were playing the Reds, and their weather has just been awful. I don't know if you saw yesterday Bryce Harper hitting 3 home runs in awful cold weather. Well, it happened again today, and the Reds and the Phillies have an off day tomorrow. And if they were going to delay the game today, now I didn't check if they ever got this game underway, but so this will make this kind of null and void. But there is some sort of scheduling issue, and me being a scheduler, I know how stressful scheduling issues are, and they are playing it right now. Actually, it's in the bottom of the 6th. The Reds are winning 3-1 over the Phillies. But say they didn't have to play the game, or they couldn't play the game. Well, Citizens Bank Ballpark actually was booked already for this Thursday, tomorrow off day for some reason. And it was booked for a wedding. Yes, they booked a wedding during the month of April, which has a lot of rain, which has a lot of makeups. And the Reds, if they didn't play this game today, they would have had to travel back to Citizens Bank Ballpark on one of their off days to just play a single game against the Phillies. It doesn't look like that's happening because they are now in the bottom of the 6th, but maybe don't plan. This is where I maybe go into conspiracies, but it just is. they want the Major League Baseball wants the Phillies to be good, and the Major League Baseball wants the Phillies to be in the playoffs. And Major League Baseball will do anything to get the Phillies into the playoffs because, of course, they have big stars. They have Zach Wheeler, they have Aaron Nola, they have Kyle Schwarber, they have Castellanos, Bryce Harper. But I guess it's going to work out for the Reds. That Skraby doesn't really fit at this moment in time, but we have the right to refuse or to revisit that at any point in time. Oh, Brandon says something funny. I was surprised the White Sox got postponed today against the Braves, but not the Cubs in the same city. Wow. That is kind of weird. Jocelyn, what happened with the Vegas trip? The Vegas trip is still going to be happening. We're still giving away Cool in the Gang, I think, is what's happening with us. So if you want a chance to win a trip to Vegas and see Cool in the Gang, make sure you play Chris versus the Fans. Now, let's go back into the Padres because this was actually brought to my attention in the chat by Welsh Fryer, but according to Ken Rosenthal and Dennis Lin, the Padres have actually already reached out to the Marlins trying to trade with them, and the two top players that the Padres were interested in are Jesus Luzardo and Luis Arraez. And now Luis Arraez is one of the better hitters in the league. Actually gets a lot of comparisons to Tony Gwynn. And so, I mean, that would definitely make sense to have a guy who's compared to Tony Gwynn in a Padres uniform. But the Marlins are not good right now. And the Marlins are 0-7 to start the year, which is a bummer because I like Skip Schumacher. Seems like a really nice guy. Seems like a good dude, a motivating dude. And he got his team to the playoffs last year, but 0-7 start to the season. Hey, Padres fans, aren't you kind of happy you're not a Marlins fan right now? 0-7 would be much worse. Much worse. I know the Padres only have, 4 wins now? Still, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot. It's a lot. But anyway, so they were talking about this in spring training, and this makes me think that the Padres were going after a starting pitcher either way, even if they didn't get Dylan Cease. Because if you get Jesus Luzardo and you trade some guys away for him and Luis Arraez, that's your trade right there. That's your big trade. And that brings in a good pitcher, and that brings in a great hitter and a guy who gets on base all the time. Luis Arraez gets on base all the time. And I'm seeing on the chat, people are very into this whole Luis Arraez at the leadoff spot, which would be nice because the leadoff spot right now is Xander Bogaerts. It's hit or miss. And it's so this makes me think that when they traded for Dylan Cease, they were also trying to get trying other trades out first. You can't just send one trade and then wait. You kind of have just trades all over the place. What is it? Irons in the fire. And so this one didn't work out, but I am all for getting Luis Arraez. I am all for it because he is a good baseball player and he definitely would help this lineup. He would definitely help this lineup. But the one thing that I'm a little not weirded out about, but the one thing that I'm thinking, why would you bring in Luis Arraez if you already have a crowded infield? You already have an infield you already have a team full of infielders. Now, do you trade one of those infielders away and try and bring Luis Arraez back? What kind of package do you send for Luis Arraez? You don't send the Jackson Merrill, obviously. You don't send the Graham Pauley, obviously. There's some other guys that you could send, but how much are you willing to give away? Do you want a starting pitcher with this too? And I think this is why ultimately maybe this deal didn't go through, is because they just didn't want to add all the guys that the Marlins were trying to get for Luis Arraez and Jesus Luzardo. But those are the type of deals that Kirsten says Arraez can play outfield too. You know what? I wasn't sure, but I was looking in his baseball reference page because I thought he only played infield. His baseball reference page says he plays second base, third base, and first base. Either way, there's a logjam in a lot of positions. And I'm trying not to be a prospect hugger, but is Luis Ariz going to put you over the top? Is he going to be a guy who's going to maybe kick you into a winning season? I'm not sure. Right now, he's not hitting well, but again, it's only 7 games in, and the Marlins themselves aren't playing well. But he's hitting 208 this year. Last year, he hit 354. The year before that, he hit 316. Not a power guy. That doesn't matter, though. He gets on base a ton. His OPS last year was 861. But it's interesting to find out what these different trades are and what maybe was on the table, because think about that. It could go a way different direction. It could go a completely different direction. And Dylan Cease is not on this team. He's still on the White Sox. And who knows? Maybe Steven Wilson's still with the Padres as well. But I'm not going to go that far. Not going to go that far. Cactus Man says, what's our DH when Manny is back? We need that upgrade. That is a far out question, Cactus Man, because Chris and I talked about this the other day. And the Padres do have some sort of an interesting decision to make about the DH, because Manny Machado is a good DH, but I don't know who are they going to put. Graham Pauley at DH? I don't think so. They can put Jackson Merrill at DH. Wouldn't be the worst thing for here and there, but I don't think that he would be a guy they would go to every single day. It's Kirsten makes a good point. Ariz can give Cronenworth a day off and DH too. That is right. Does Ariz want to play? Does he want to play in the field, or does he just want to DH? I guess it doesn't matter. Javier says the only thing Ariz is similar to Tony is his batting stance. He is nothing like Tony. Well, I could say that his own son, Tony Gwynn Jr., says Luis Ariz has some Tony Gwynn similarities in his swing. So I'm going to go with his son there. I am going to go with his son, but we might see a trade. I don't think anything's going to happen here anytime soon because of how things are going, with the young guys, just trying to figure out what this team has and what this team is. I don't know that this trade is actually going to happen at this point. But who knows? I mean, I didn't think Dylan Cease was going to happen either. So Dylan Cease did happen. Thomas, Odd Thomas, old guy. He used to work for a show way back when. Why do you think Tommy Pham isn't on this team yet? Why do I think Tommy Pham isn't on this team yet? Probably because no one's offering him the money that he wants. And I think I may have even seen this on the chat in the last couple of days, but since leagues around the world are paying a lot more money to players, maybe he's getting better offers for something overseas. It doesn't seem like Pham's going to happen either. Doesn't seem like it. But as Chris and I said yesterday, Jurickson Profar, we got many tweets last night about us and how we maybe Jurickson heard us talking about how he needs to play better. And so that's why he did some good things last night. But I don't think we have that control, guys. Also, I should say this. So last night, I will take fault for jinxing the Padres. I will. And there was one person quite upset. And I thought they were... I thought that they were joking for a little bit, but apparently they weren't joking. I know when someone's not joking is when they send an angry tweet and then they delete it. That's when I know someone's not joking. They're being dead serious. But he was upset that I was pointing out the fact that Darvish had 40-something pitches in the 6th inning. And I said, am I seeing what I'm seeing? And I got to say, I don't believe in like jinxes or superstitions or anything like that. But as soon as I hit that button to tweet it out, immediately everything came undone for Darvish. And the Padres, they gave up the lead. And we all know what happened last night. They lost 5-2. But I take the blame for that. And this person was very upset. And I thought about it for a very long time. And I agree. I would be upset too. Because immediately when I hit send on that tweet, everything turned around. Everything turned around. Cactus Man said, I did the same thing. I was telling my wife how good this guy is as he gave up that bomb. Yeah. So maybe I'm not the only one who jinxed out there. But if you're someone who believes in jinxes, just know that I don't know that we have that much control in this world. Jinxes. I believe in other stuff. And by the way, I'm going all over the place at this point, but this is the last 5 minutes of the show, and everybody knows it gets a little weird. But in the open, we talk about aliens, or Dr. Venkman from Ghostbusters 2 talks about aliens. But if you haven't seen the show on Netflix, 3 Body Problem, you should watch it because it's kind of about aliens. It's very interesting. But I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that in case I forgot. Javier says Tommy Pham will go to the KBO or NPB. Probably. Jacob says, when are you and Chris throwing out the first pitch? I don't know. Maybe next time. Did anybody get the poncho from 97.3 The Fan? Cactus Man says Body Problem was legit. It was legit. It was a little, I will say it's a little confusing in the beginning, but as you go along, you figure it out. And there are some sweet scenes in that show. Yeah, I needed some more on that show. All right, let's go to this Braves thing real quick, and then we're going to go into the Daily Gripe, which I think everybody already knows what the Daily Gripe is because Chris gave it to me earlier. But the Braves have a massive new food item at home games this year called the 4-bagger. It's 4 burgers, 1 pound of barbecue brisket, Reaper pepper mayo, jalapenos, cheese, and beer-battered onion rings. Now, this picture... Go to the MLB Twitter because this picture shows just a plate of deliciousness, I have to say. Although the onion rings and the fries at the same time, a little aggressive. But the onion rings are on top of the burger. So I don't know how much this costs, but I'm sure it costs like $30, $40. But if you want a 4-bagger, 1 pound of barbecue beef brisket, 4 burgers, Reaper pepper mayo, jalapenos, cheese, and beer battered onion rings. Man, it's the end of the show and I'm getting real hungry.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
Everybody's saying they love their ponchos from last night. Wednesday, Manny Machado bobblehead day. So make sure you get there early for that. All right, so my Daily Gripe is going to be these rich sports owners that continually don't want to pay for anything. They just want people to give them money because they're rich. And this whole thing with the Chiefs and the Chiefs owner and him and then the Dallas mayor saying you should come to our town. Basically, the Chiefs have one of the worst facilities in football, according to the players, and the owner won't put money into it. It's amazing the Chiefs have won as many Super Bowls as they had recently, but it really drives me insane when owners threaten to move, owners threaten to take things away because they don't want to pay for something. You know what? Sometimes you have to spend a little to make a little, and that's my tame version of the Daily Gripe. All right, I'll be back tomorrow night with the Skraby Show. Have a great night, everyone. Talk to you then.
San Diego, you looking for